All right, everybody, welcome to this week's edition of Leather and Laces. Do I Want to Know? We're going to discuss the transfer portal, the college football playoffs, and the race for the 1 seed in the NFL.
So they just dropped the Heisman invitees. Any shock that Marvin Harrison's on there?
No.
No.
I'm almost surprised they didn't put Shadur Sanders on there, to be honest.
How many got invites? Four.
I don't know if there's like a specific number that they always hit, but
There's not.
Yeah, I thought it was always 4.
So in 2010, the only relevant year here, they had 3. It was Michael James,
Living in the
Andrew
past,
Luck,
man.
and Cam Newton. He's one of your favorite quarterbacks.
He is.
My favorite players.
Living in the past, but
Well, speaking of living in the past, 2004, they only had, I'm almost positive it was 3 because Jason Campbell did not get an invite. You're only SEC player of the year, offensive player of the year. You don't even get an invite.
It's tragic.
Undefeated.
It's tragic.
So who are the 4?
Penix, Nix,
Jaden Daniels?
Jaden Daniels, which I don't think he should get it, even though he's the favorite.
that's crazy.
Why?
Why would
3
he not
losses,
get it?
dude. Got
And
3 losses
has the most offensive yards and touchdowns.
against
By a lot.
in losses. Like, come on, man.
No. Sorry.
So you think he should get it?
I do.
No. It's not like it's Johnny Manziel, who was a freshman and did it. He's like a super senior that transferred from Arizona State a few years ago.
Bo Nix is also a super senior.
I wasn't going to say that he was going to be the winner.
Okay.
So is Penix.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
he's undefeated.
And if we're going into undefeated
Yeah, I was
teams,
going to say, we can go into that, buddy. Yeah.
Who else should be on there? If it's undefeated.
no.
I mean, I think it was a pretty clear 4 for the finalists.
I am glad that they included Marvin on there because he definitely earned it, even with his quarterback transfer.
You also have to have someone outside of just quarterbacks.
Do you?
At least invited, I feel like.
Well, sometimes they win if their name's Devontae Smith,
True.
but he earned it. Actually, the last 2 non-quarterbacks to win the Heisman were both out of Alabama.
Henry,
Unless I'm misremembering someone else thrown in there.
I think Derek. Yeah,
It's
Derek
Henry and Devontae Smith. That's kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
Some would say it's a heck of a program down there.
some would say, not me.
I mean, I actually think the other guy that should have been invited should have been Milroe.
Don't get me started. I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
You got to play all your games.
So where's the rule?
There's one thing we've learned over the past 2 days. There are no rules.
Yeah, evidently.
Yeah.
No, I don't. I think I would give it over. I'd give Jaden it over Jalen.
I think the
I
top
don't
2 are
even think
pretty.
Jaden should have it.
I think there's a
Anyway.
pretty fine line between the top 2 and everyone else.
Who's your top 2?
Penix and Daniels.
Okay.
I thought it would have been Bo and Daniels.
But the fact that you
I think
lose,
you're undefeated.
Okay.
The fact that you lose to the other guy twice. Granted, it's
that's what I'm saying.
the lack of defense that
I was gonna
lost
say
you the game, but
You don't play defense, so I mean it's such a subjective thing.
But at the same time, Jaden Daniels has benefited from the fact that his team doesn't have a good defense, and he's able to put up all these stats.
For sure.
So the fact that Penix, granted, he's been in a lot more close games than, or lower scoring close games than Daniels. I still think that. Where was I going with this?
I don't know. Tell us. Where were you going?
I don't know.
So my thing about Daniels, they had to go up against Alabama's defense. They went up against Ole Miss, who was 11, Missouri, who was 9, Auburn, who can show out sometimes, Florida State, who was number 4, Georgia. Georgia was last year. So they actually went up against teams with good defenses, teams with good offenses. Washington, they played Oregon, they played USC, who doesn't have a good defense. I don't think it's the same, and like you said, it was close games as well.
I think he could have locked it up with a really impressive performance.
Yeah.
Like if they win by 2 touchdowns, I think, big time win like that. But
Right. But
Well, so
it's-
how much stats did he put up in the Ole Miss loss? Like that was a back and forth game that he just put up a bunch of numbers without getting the W.
And
414 pass yards, 4 touchdowns,
Exactly. And he gets rewarded for losing the game.
and 99 rush yards with a touchdown as well.
There you go.
So
And
over
then you got-
500 yards.
And he what was it? 6 touchdowns in the Georgia State game. Am I remembering that correctly?
Yeah.
Like, okay, yeah, whatever.
Putting up a lot of numbers on terrible defenses.
That's something
Way
you'd
to
say
go.
about Shadur
Yes.
on a losing team. This guy is the team. And they have a winning record.
Mm-hmm.
3 losses. I mean, what, 9-3? Not half bad.
It's no
You're just in this
13-0.
elitist mindset, man.
It's no 13.
You know, it's a Heisman.
Well, and we'll get to that when we talk about the
we're
college
hinting
football
at it.
playoff.
Oh, yeah, we're making the people wait, baby.
I would like to say Bo because that's just I'm a fanboy, but I can't pick Bo over Penix after the head-to-heads, even though Bo doesn't play defense.
Right.
He still got the highest completion percentage out of any of them.
What was his percentage?
It's like 77%, 78.
Okay, that was higher than I thought. Never mind. Because Jaden Daniels is 72%, I
Is he
think.
that high? I thought it was in the 60s.
No, it's 70s. I'm pretty sure.
Well, let's fact check that.
He's a pretty good player, Drew.
I'm not discounting that he's a good player. I'm just saying he's not the guy.
Also, I think he had the highest QBR rating of any quarterback. 72.2.
Okay.
So
And Drew,
I
do you have
mean-
Bo's? What was Bo's final?
Oh, I can find it pretty quickly.
he also broke the record then, right? For the highest percentage.
He was on pace to. I don't know whether he did or not.
77.2. I think the record was 78.
So anyway, we ready to move on?
Yeah, Connor's going to edit that out.
How's he going to get it?
Email, I don't know. Dropbox.
Stork will drop it off. I don't know.
Ooh, nice.
We'll just send sweets out with it. All right, go. Take him.
I say you go on with the next topic, Drew. You tell us what's on your mind, buddy. What grinds your gears?
Well, do we want to talk about the other bowl games? Like Auburn's playing Maryland.
Keep
we
going.
don't. No, we don't. We don't have enough time for that.
Georgia, Florida State. We talked about it beforehand, and I want this controversy of not making it into the playoffs get Kirby and the head coach of Florida State to not allow players to sit out and try and have a competitive game. So Florida State should try and show that they should have
But
been
it's
in the
not-
playoffs.
How do you enforce that?
I don't know.
And B, if you're Brock, why are you remotely even thinking about that?
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't. If I'm Brock, I don't even sniff the field.
Especially with the injuries that he just sustained
Say
over
him
the
and
last
Ladd
few weeks.
both.
No, they definitely shouldn't, like players wise, because of potential injuries. But if you're making such a big stink about not making it into the playoffs, I think you should prove your point as to why you should have, instead of having your top 6 people sit out and then it be an awful game. Like, I feel like they should try and prove themselves.
Well, I don't know if that's going to happen.
It's
Any
not.
NFL hopeful on either side is going to sit it out.
Well, in Florida State without their starting quarterback, based on the last couple of games, it's not going to look great anyway.
And that's why they shouldn't have
Well, they
made playoffs.
beat a number 14 Louisville team. Texas lost to the number 12 Oklahoma team.
Louisville
In
looked
overtime.
awful.
They still lost. Florida State hadn't lost. I don't know if you know
Florida
that.
State sucks.
They didn't lose, though.
They suck.
And
They still suck, dude.
All right, if we're having this argument and we're talking about who should be in, as the 4th team, it's not Florida State.
No, definitely not.
It is Georgia. If you're going to have a 4th, then and it's going to be somebody over Texas, it's got to be Georgia.
My thing is, if they were going to disqualify them and like take them out of the top 4, why did they wait till the last week to do it? The only thing that changed between Selection Sunday and the week before is they won the ACC championship against a top 14 team.
Well, no,
And they
the
somehow
other thing
dropped.
that happened is Georgia lost.
Yep. So they were 4. Georgia loses. They drop out of the top 4. They should, in theory, move up to number 3.
Same scenario happened when Ohio State played Wisconsin. They beat them by 59 in that game. Florida State won by 10 against Louisville, who looked like shit.
I'm just saying, you beat a top 15 team, and you were ranked number 4. The number 1 team goes down, drops out of the top 4 altogether. So in theory, you just beat a top 14 team with your third string quarterback, and you got a great defense, and they should have moved up. Or
Okay.
stayed the same. I would have accepted that you put Texas or Alabama 3. But the fact that the only thing that happened between 1 week and the next week, with them being at number 4, is Georgia, or 2 things. Georgia dropped out, and Florida State won the ACC championship.
So there's a couple of things here. Number one, their conference was hot garbage this year.
Horrible.
So, you've got that piece of it. They were what, 55th for strength of schedule.
Yep.
So that you've got that going for you. But let's go the other direction of this and go like what's actually driving the bus here?
Oh, money.
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 Okay, so when you look at that from a money standpoint, you've got Washington, West Coast. You've got Texas.
Texas.
In Texas.
Which is Texas. South Central. You have Michigan. Northeast, Midwest,
Yeah.
and you had 3 teams to pick from in the Southeast, and you're not picking all 3 of them, and you had to go with the one that won their championship and won the game. I feel like, that's one of the hey, I think Georgia should have been in personally, but at the same time, all you got to do is win the game. Like, this is your chance to put a nail in Saban and establish your own dynasty. Go win 3 in a row. And they didn't do it.
What I don't understand
but
is
it's money. If you look at the viewership on this and what TV ratings and what money's going to be made out of this from hitting every corner of the country, they got exactly what they wanted.
Yep.
I just don't understand how we're dinging Florida State for beating bad teams when Alabama just the week before should have lost to a bad team. Like, I know it doesn't show up as an L in the win-loss column, but that is still almost a bad loss.
Okay, so when I just said Clemson almost beat them in overtime, all of a sudden that's just a win.
So
now this is almost a bad loss.
Well, so couple almost a bad loss, and what's that one sitting next to the 12? That's a loss. So they're 12-1. They're not undefeated. They didn't beat every team that they played. Florida State did.
But you're looking at this. We talked about this yesterday. You're looking at this from a romantic perspective of these kids have worked hard and deserve to be in there because they didn't lose.
It's okay to be mushy.
And you're not wrong.
They should. So they didn't. And I've told Reese this earlier in the week. They didn't get to have a Tua moment. They didn't get to have your backup quarterback comes in, balls out, and gets you a title. And they didn't. They stole that from them.
But their backup didn't ball out.
They got
8 for
hurt.
21,
That's their
dude.
third string.
8
No,
for 21.
even when he was starting the second string for the past 2 weeks, they were still bad offensively.
And they beat they beat number 14 Louisville.
no,
they beat North Alabama
Yeah,
with a 40
Still win.
QBR.
and then the week before that, he had a 32 QBR. So it's not like it's Tua going in there and throwing 300 yards. This guy was at 120, 150. It's not.
I'm just saying it could have happened.
Can I
The
just,
lights shine brightly.
all right, can I just have a moment to talk about Georgia? I'm going to agree with what you're saying. Drew asked me earlier this week, why are you not bothered that your team didn't make it? And I told you, like I've been telling everybody for the last 2 months, if Georgia wants to make it, nothing up to that point matters. They have to win the game. Mm-hmm. So was I mad that they ranked? I don't know. I was kind of puzzled why they were 6th and not 5th, but I'm not mad they didn't make it. And so when people talk about Florida State, if you wanted to get in, be better. Don't throw 8 for 21. Win by 40 and not 10.
So your argument is that you got to win the championship. Florida State did that.
No.
Or-
Well, I don't know. They won 29 straight. Florida State, this is like their first good year in how long?
Yeah, and they may not be this good.
I know how long, but anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. They may not be this good for another 8 years or another 9,
Well,
10
they're a
years.
bad
So
program.
here's the one other thing that nobody's bringing up on this because we think they are the number 1 team. But if I'm Florida State, I'm looking at this and going, we didn't cheat that anybody knows
Yeah.
of to win any of our games.
They beat Ohio State with the head coach not on the field. So, and after the cheating scandal. So, I mean, yes, it should show somehow, but
Them getting Alabama, not Florida State.
I think Harborough should not have been at the games for the rest of the year,
That's
not
what I
just
thought,
regular
yeah.
season. Do the whole year.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know.
I don't know why people are making it about the SEC champ when, they were cheating. Just thought.
My thing is, if this may be the one time in the next 5, 10, 20 years that Florida State's good, and because they're, albeit Heisman caliber quarterback is out, they don't get the chance to even try. Like I'll give it to you if you let them in and they get thumped. That is.
But nobody wants to see that.
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
Like nobody wants to see that.
We saw that, last year and the year
I mean,
before
but,
that.
again,
If you're asking yourself what you want to see in a game, I don't think that should be a criteria of how you vote.
do you want to see Florida State or the Houston Astros? I mean, Michigan.
I mean, if we're asking about the matchups that we want to see, first off, Georgia should have been back in it, and they should have been 4, and Alabama should have been 3, so that, in theory, if Georgia thumps Michigan and Alabama thumps Washington, you had a rematch.
We're talking about the best teams. I don't care about the matchups.
Well, see, we're
Georgia
talking,
was one of the best teams. They would have won the game.
You said you don't want to see who wants to watch Florida State versus the Houston Astros.
I was just.
I know that, but
I was just poking
who wants
bears.
to watch
That's-
Florida State versus Michigan?
People
People are
not in the
asking
state-
themselves
Look, we've.
what the matchups should be.
But here's the thing: we've
that they
seen
wanna watch.
we've seen a playoff national championship, game where you lose your starting quarterback, and it was horrendous. It was so bad, and that was Alabama, Texas. Like it was so ugly.
Oh,
And
with,
we don't want to see it again.
when it was AJ McCarron
Well, Texas.
or whom?
Oh gosh,
Colt McCoy.
Colt McCoy got knocked out. And it was just your whole game plan goes out. Now
I'm just saying there's no precedence for this. So I say put Florida State in, give them the opportunity to set the standard, set the precedent. Either that you give the little guy a chance, or they flop and then you never let him back in. You took that opportunity away. So now we're gonna go a few more years and we're gonna have this question. Well, maybe not since we've got a 12-team playoff, but you didn't get the opportunity to have them in.
Why set a precedent if it's going to go from 4 to 12 next year? Who cares?
Yeah,
Get the SEC in, make people happy.
it doesn't matter, and you're lobbying to watch them get pummeled.
By 50, at least.
But I'm just saying, let them set that precedence.
But for
They didn't-
what? It's a whole new playoff thing.
That's what I'm
next
saying.
year. Like, who
We've seen that
cares?
before.
Oh, Just saying, on principle, they're undefeated, ACC
All right,
title.
you're gonna have to let that bone go. And
Whatever. They should have been in. They should have been ranked number 3. Just for clarification's sake, it should be Michigan, Washington, Florida State, Alabama.
They probably didn't want a repeat of last year between Georgia and TCU, where it was the playoff games combined for 20.5 million viewers, while the championship only had 17 million. Less people watched the championship. And at one point in the game, in the fourth quarter, it dropped to 10 million. So people stopped watching the game probably halfway through it. That's not how you
But the thing is, TCU did beat Michigan to get into
Yes.
the finals. We don't
Right.
want to see Washington, Alabama from 7 years ago?
this actually came up, and I wished I could credit the show that I got in the car yesterday morning. Here's the thing: nowhere in this is there for the playoff committee or anybody else in the NCAA. If they get it wrong, if they put Florida State in, and it's terrible, so what? There's no penalty for this. There's no risk. People are still going to watch college football, so it didn't matter. Their point was it didn't really matter what they did because you can't get it wrong. But in this particular instance, they, rather than trying to favor students and kids and people with 12-0 records, they favored
Money.
the almighty dollar.
Yeah. The fact that people are even asking themselves, oh, nobody wants to watch that, or why would we want to see Michigan beat up on Florida State. Like, that's not the question you should be asking yourself. It's which team is undefeated and won their title game.
Let's just put Liberty in there too. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
That's what we're
have
going to do
some
next
fun,
year.
yeah.
So that's the
So they're going to
fix.
get run over by 30. Yeah.
so why can't teams just play like the 12 worst teams in the league
Yeah.
every single year and say, "Oh, I was 12-0, I
But they
should be in the
didn't play
playoffs."
the worst teams. They had 3
Yeah.
top 25 wins.
Who are the top 25?
Duke, Louisville, and
Are you listening to yourself?
Yeah, dude.
what?
LSU was the only good win.
This is not the road to the Final Four in basketball. Like
There were
that.
top
That sounds
25 teams.
that sounds good if it's basketball.
Either the rankings matter or they don't.
Yeah, wrong sport, man.
You have top 25 wins.
Yeah. It didn't work for my team in 2004. It shouldn't work now.
And you're still bitter about that.
I'm totally bitter about that.
What are you counting off for, Nick?
I was looking at Bama's schedule. They beat number 11 Ole Miss, 25 Tennessee, 13 LSU. They just beat number 1 Georgia.
Well, let's take Tennessee out of that. They're not a top 25 team. That's a coin flip.
They are
they
are top 25. Oh, I'm sorry. The man saying, "Oh, they're
Yeah,
top
dude.
25 teams."
We're talking about Duke and Louisville.
Yeah.
but they're actually, under the top 25.
Do you know what being in the top 25 means?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
If Duke and Auburn played, how do you think that game would turn out?
Duke probably win.
Would it be close?
The Alabama-Auburn game was close.
Okay, but
that
that's
doesn't make a
a
difference.
heated rivalry, so there's always going to be more going into it.
They also almost
said
lost
so
to
on. You said
USF.
so 2 weeks ago that it didn't matter if they went like 0 and whatever. They show up and Auburn's still playing Bama.
Well, they still
Like,
almost lost to USF.
Okay.
So
I have a solution to all your problems. Let's take Florida State. Let's take Alabama. Drop them in Gillette Stadium. Let them play.
there you go. Problem solved.
Bama by 55.
But they get the opportunity.
Dude, you're always about no man left behind. Oh, jeez. Woe is me. Auburn fan turned Florida State defender.
Yeah, which
who called that
just
one?
doesn't even seem right.
Yeah.
That's. You did watch that national championship game, right?
I did.
Yeah.
If Jordan
Thanks a lot,
Travis, if he was healthy, I would have been all for it. But a second or third string quarterback that have had a couple of games to prove themselves and have just not moved the ball, it doesn't seem they are not top 5 teams in the nation.
And to your point, nobody's watching that game.
Yeah,
Nobody
like-
wants to watch that quarterback play.
But it shouldn't be about what matchups we want to see.
But it
I
is.
I know what it is. I'm just saying how it should be. The most deserving teams should get in, and that's.
That
So
you're acting like that's always happened. That's hardly ever happened.
Next year, when you have 12 teams, there's going to be even less and more arguments because you have more teams, but it means less when you have 12 teams that you're letting in.
So when a team wins the Super Bowl, do you say that they're the best team? Yes or no?
At the end of the year, if they win, yeah.
Okay. So why wouldn't you have the best 4 teams in the playoff?
Well, so
But
you're
shouldn't-
giving them the opportunity to win, and then they won. Florida State doesn't get the opportunity to prove that they're the best team by beating Michigan and beating Texas and Washington.
Again, nobody wants to watch it anyway.
That's the question we should be
trophy,
asking
yeah.
ourselves.
So
You're not the
who's
one with the
who's
money.
your top 4?
I already said it.
Who is it?
Michigan, Washington, Florida State, Alabama.
So you're taking.
So you're putting them ahead of Texas.
I don't like Texas.
Oh my
Okay, all right. So we just wasted 20-something minutes on
No, Drew
Personal
wasted 20
bias.
minutes. Yes.
Oh wow.
You said you wanted controversy in this episode.
intelligent
Yes,
conversation.
controversy,
Yeah.
not
Come on, dude.
idiotic arguments. It's
He's cool riding Florida State, but as soon as it comes to Texas, whoa.
whoa.
Texas beats Alabama versus Alabama beating Georgia in the SEC title game. Next year, when Texas is in the SEC and they win their conference title game, that might matter a little bit more.
But
Oh, but let's
see,
not
this
get
is
crazy.
if we go back to the point. Even I know he went 2 for whatever, but if Florida State had Texas as third string quarterback, then people would watch that.
That's right. That's right.
See, but
That's
we
right.
keep asking ourselves, who's going to watch that? Who wants to watch Archie Manning? Arch Manning.
People would watch that game.
Would you
I
say
know.
Florida State's a good program?
Right now they are. They're 13-0.
We'll be better at the third string quarterback, dude. Come on, man. What are you
I mean,
doing? Scratching
I mean,
your butt whenever you're practicing? Like, be better than 8 for 21.
You do need to have a second and third string quarterback.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I think everyone's figured that out. Because if you don't, you're going to get screwed out of a playoff spot.
Yep.
Injuries happen.
Screwed out of a playoff spot. There's voters. They voted against them.
Yeah.
But even after voting them in the top 4 the week before, that's if you were going to do it and they were number 5 the week before, totally fine. I wouldn't say a word. But the fact that they were 4 the week before.
If Brock Purdy had not gotten hurt last year, does San Francisco move on in the playoffs?
They certainly have a better shot.
Okay, but they didn't have their starting quarterback and they lost. We're just skipping ahead. Everybody else is jumping ahead to this actual conclusion, and you're not.
What are they assuming? They're assuming that it's going to be a win. You know,
Or
what
Florida
happens when
State's
you
gonna
assume-
lose.
Based on the evidence shown in the Louisville game, they're not going to win.
So you're judging a book by its cover.
Yes.
Real.
Who
Sure.
doesn't?
He's judging a book by
Who
the book, buddy. Yeah. Your
didn't have the
little
book.
participation
We
trophy
watched the
utopia
movie.
is coming true next year, okay? Just
It's
hold
not
your
a
breath.
participation trophy.
Yeah,
They
dude.
won all of their
Everybody
games.
gets in,
You
man.
keep saying they should have a chance. They should have the opportunity. They should
I'm saying that it should have been default that they get in because they're a conference champion. Like if you have 5 or 6 undefeated conference champions, that's when you can split hairs.
What about UCF 7 years ago that went undefeated? Should they have made playoffs?
Co-national champs, right?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. So what's the difference? That's your logic is they were undefeated.
What conference are they in?
Exactly. Exactly.
And in their bowl game, they barely beat an Auburn team that was so disinterested in being there, it wasn't even funny, and nobody watched except for
That's how
Auburn
Georgia's
fans.
going to be. No.
They're in the Big 12.
Well, now, yeah.
Now. I don't think they were at the time.
Hey, Nick, I'll tell you why we need to relax, okay? This is the guy who I was talking to an hour ago. They got all hot and bothered when he said if the 12-team playoff was this year, Liberty would be in.
What?
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
no, I'm not saying that
They can
sh-
make some noise.
should be. I'm saying it's literally you take the top 6 conference champions and you automatically put them in.
Why would you do that?
That's what it is.
What?
But he seemed excited about
Is that really
though.
how it is?
Yeah. They get an automatic bid.
Okay, then why? Like, for instance, the SEC right now has 7 in the top 12. So you're saying since we're not ranked in the top 12, we shouldn't be able to go? Because that's your logic with Florida State, that they should have been ranked 4, so they should have made
I
it.
don't know that that's specifically how it works for next year. And when we were looking at it earlier, it does get or at least the website I was looking at, it gets reseeded. So they had Liberty ranked 12, even though it's not like you get the top 6 conference champions and put them 1 through 6. It's you take the top 6 conference champions, they automatically get thrown in, and you're not going to get a second team from the AAC. That's just not happening. At least not right now.
How about you earn your spots?
Yeah.
Don't get what you deserve, not just hand out free playoff opportunities.
You mean like to 1-loss teams?
That's right.
Earn your spot, buddy.
Earn your spot.
Be better.
Don't lose a game.
Win by more. Win by more.
You can't be perfect
Don't lose to
a
Texas.
whole
Don't lose to
season.
Oklahoma. Except there were 4 teams that were. 2 of them made it in. 2 of them didn't. And I'm not arguing for the other one because it's Liberty.
It's going to be Alabama, Texas, so like
Another future double SEC team, matchup.
Yeah.
So
That'll be the most watched matchup though.
which one?
Texas beating Washington and Alabama beating Michigan and then playing each other.
I hope that's
Texas
what happens.
Bills.
Yeah.
Repeat of 2009?
no idea.
8 or 9, I don't know.
Where's Connor when you need him?
Yeah.
Yeah, our only Bama fans missing.
All right. Let me see how this is actually going to work next year. Because I would like to know.
Should we hop into a different topic while you
Guy's
look that
unreal,
up?
man.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was gonna
before he
say.
has a seizure. Yeah.
All right, what's another topic?
It's not FSU related.
Let's just go away from college football because
Oh, believe me, I'll bring it back up if I have to.
that's fine. We can bring it back up. NFL.
You know where he graduated from? Florida State.
NFL MVP odds. I saw that those got updated, and Brock Purdy's the new favorite.
I think it depends on which one you're looking at. Because most of them have,
Because Tua is still up there pretty high too, isn't he?
well,
I think he's top 5, or maybe
depending
fifth.
on the one, it's Dak or Purdy, and then some of them have them dead even.
MVP odds.
Well, the easy answer on that is Dak's got to beat Philly, or he's not winning it.
If he beats Philly though, he's making a strong case for himself. Well,
That's what Purdy just did last week.
true, yeah. Even though he got so much help because it was a ton of yards after catch than like actual
But he put the ball in the right spot.
Yeah, he
Gotta give
did.
him credit, yeah.
Debo Samuel.
in the wrong spots. Just real quick, and we can move off of the college football. It's for next year. It's the top 6 conference champions, and then the next 6 in are the next highest ranked. So Liberty, they could be ranked 23rd, and they automatically get a bid.
That's stupid.
So they would be 6.
No,
They
they
would
would.
succeed?
They could still be number 12.
Yeah. So.
Oh, okay.
So the
It's not like NFL where it's like the division champs
Oh,
or
okay,
1, 2,
that's
3,
what we were
4.
going-
So the
yeah.
top 4 teams receive a first round bye. So, but they would fall in line in the 5 or 6. They get put into the pool, and I would assume they get seeded after that. So in theory, Liberty would be 12.
Okay.
So, but with this, I can't make the argument. Oh, well, you voted Florida State out. They automatically get a bid. Yeah, they'd probably be sitting. Well, no, they'd be top 4 because they're undefeated, so they'd get a bye in next year's format.
No, they would still be number 5.
I wonder if that would change. I wonder if that would change how the playoff committee votes. If they just automatically put the undefeateds up at the top, or if they actually go into.
I bet you it would be similar, and they do.
They do the best teams.
Yeah, best teams.
We don't know. We know they don't care about undefeated now.
It actually says so. The top 4 teams will receive a first round bye. So like Louisville could be like 9-3 and win the ACC, but they're not going to get a bye,
Right.
Just because they were a conference champion.
Because that wouldn't make sense at all.
And math ain't mathin'.
Agreed.
Also,
a
you'd have a-
3-loss team over
Yeah.
a 1-loss Bama.
Well, so to answer
Georgia.
your question, which comes first? A 2-loss team in the top 4, or everyone's undefeated? That was the question we'd had earlier, right?
Oh,
It's gonna be a 2-win team because you're gonna have a 2-win conference champion next year,
but that
or
doesn't
2-loss.
that doesn't automatically make them top 4 though. Like you said, that they can be reseeded.
But so in this year's iteration, if you're in the top 4, you're in the playoff. Next year's iteration, if you're in the top 4, you're in the playoffs. But it also goes to top 12.
Which it was real close to being 4 undefeateds if Georgia had won and Florida State would have made it.
So just hypothetically, before we move on to the NFL, if you had 4 undefeateds and one of those included Florida State, do you think you're still putting a 1-loss team ahead of them, or do you think they're going to let the undefeateds clash? Because right now you have 2 1-loss teams. You don't have.
I think
we're not talking about putting Liberty in, so you don't really have 4 conceivable no-loss teams to put in. Also, it's undefeated.
it could have made for like a lot more hype if it was 4 undefeated teams, because then it's like some people will think, oh, it's the 4 best teams, like they're undefeated, like this is a clash. But like it still would have been tough, I think, to have people vote that way.
Yeah. Also, just for the record, I'm not naive enough to believe that just because you're undefeated, you're better than another team.
Well, it was sounding that
So
way.
what was this whole?
I'm just saying, if it works out how it should work, where you don't lose Alabama, Texas, Georgia, you should be in. And which we're going to that, so it's good.
It's going in circles, man.
I know I'm here participating in this, and I'm bored now, so I can imagine listening
Yeah.
to this.
All right, moving on.
Well, no. Can we one thing? Because I know we were going to talk about the transfer portal real quick.
Yes.
I think Brock Vandegrift, who was Georgia's backup quarterback, transferring means Carson Beck's going to come back, which is going to be big.
Wait, what year is Carson back?
I think he's a junior.
Okay.
He could use one more year. He looked really good this year, but I think there's another level he can hit before he goes to the league. Plus, if you're losing Bowers and those kind of players, you need some kind of bridge.
He is a junior.
So McCord for Ohio State,
That's crazy.
Is transferring?
Got 11 wins, starter of the whole year. Just
and
left.
then Dylan Gabriel beating Texas, transferring.
Duke, what's his name?
Leonard?
Leonard? Yeah, Riley Leonard.
Really?
Apparently he's going to Notre Dame.
Stepping into what's his face?
Sam Hartman, yeah.
Sam Hartman, yeah.
DJ.
Uyalungale or whatever.
Yeah, that's better than what I was going to say.
Something like that.
The Oregon State guy, he's announced. UCLA quarterback Dante Moore. Washington State.
Did you see the
Kansas State.
former Georgia quarterback who's at Rice now said that he's retiring?
Yeah, JT Daniels, he's like 30.
Wait, what?
Yeah, he's not going on the NFL or he's not trying to pursue
Yeah,
a
dude.
career. He's just retiring. There's also a Utah State quarterback who, like, he's the starter. He's like, I'm not coming back for football. I'm going to be a Navy SEAL.
Wow,
Yeah.
That's Utah State, yeah.
that's kind of cool though.
That's pretty sick. But how do y'all feel about all the movement? I mean, it opened up today. And all
I
these
don't know how I
guys
feel about it. It's
NIL is going to kind of drive everything. So
I think it's certainly going to allow for more parity in the league, and I think it's going to allow some subpar programs, Colorado, to make a name for themselves and actually be a worthwhile program, at least for the year that they have all the players.
kind of like Florida State.
Yeah,
They didn't get a lot of transfers.
But Jordan Travis was, so
Well,
he was
they
pretty
didn't-
big.
They didn't get a
wasn't
wideout from Michigan State. That's two guys.
I didn't even hear what you said.
I said it's just two guys. But I think the transfer portal allows some subpar teams with a lot of backers to go out and get some good players, and maybe you have some teams that have never been in the top 25 or top 50 or whatever get a chance to shine.
people that don't want to ride the bench for 2 years and want to actually start. Yeah,
They go out to like North Dakota State or something and put on a show.
good
But
program.
I think you're going to see, this goes back to, your one loss, no loss. Alabama being the example, it took them a while to gel because of NIL and because of, player and coaching turnover. So if you're going back to, you want to see the X number of best teams because it's going to be more next year, but you're not ever going to see the best football once NIL is coming into play because it's going to take, you don't have a preseason like you do the NFL. It's going to take them a couple of games for some programs, not every program. Some programs you're going to have enough talent where it's not going to matter.
Yeah.
I wonder.
But others are going to have to figure it out, and those may be the Alabama of the next couple of years that are better at the end of the season.
I wonder which teams had the least amount of turnover from last year to this year, as far as like transfers and whatnot. I don't recall. I mean, granted, I'm not a Michigan fan,
Washington was one of them.
but I don't think Washington had a whole lot of turnover.
Washington didn't have much. They had a bunch
I don't think
of guys
Oregon
stay.
did either. All their turnover was the year prior.
Don't you think it kind of takes away from recruiting, though?
It certainly means less because you have a bunch of guys that committed to Texas A&M 2 years ago, #1 recruiting class. I can't name a guy that's still there. So, you get the top player from 2 years ago, and they're transferring out immediately. So, what does getting their letter of intent matter? You get them for a season, if that.
I just don't get, if you're Kirby and you're putting those time, they spent the most on recruiting trips out of anybody last year. It was like millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Why are you wasting time on what could be your third string quarterback if he's just going to leave, just going to
Yeah.
quit and go somewhere else? Which
Well,
is
but
what
the other
happened
side of
in your
that,
second string.
this is the nature of having money for 18, 19, 20-year-olds is when money gets involved, you're not going to have the same level of motivation. A highly motivated 3-star 20-year-old or an 18-year-old that gets paid really, really well may not have the same level of maturity, motivation, and performance on the field. Now they might. Some of these 5-star guys may come in with a Michael Jordan sized chip on their shoulder. It doesn't matter whether they're getting money or not.
Yeah.
They're going to play that way. But you're going to have some they're going to be like I would have been at 18. Ooh, somebody gave me a bunch of money. I just got instantly lazy.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I also wonder if you're going to have some more NFL type head coaches, guys that are used to having like a revolving door of players and players coming in, moving on, and you're having to piece together a roster, piece together an offense and a defense. I wonder if you get guys that have had that experience and are able to, come into a program with 5, 6, 10 transfers and
And
put together a team.
And I think you're going to see that if you do that though, you're going to see guys where they're going to take transfers because you have real college football tape on them, as opposed to. It doesn't mean you're not going to have recruits, but those recruits are going to have to be no brainer.
Would you rather have an upperclassman, like 5 4-star upperclassmen transfers, or 3 5-star freshmen and 2 4-star freshmen?
Depends on the positions.
And and there's certainly you could go into that. But I think if you were to ask someone at face value, would you rather have a 5-star freshman, depending on the position, versus a 4-star upperclassman that you have 2-3 years of tape on them?
Did they have any playing time?
Yeah, like if you get a 4-star like Robbie Ashford that's played like 2 snaps for Oregon, that's not going to mean anything.
No, I'd rather have the 5-star at that point.
But if you had someone like Hartman, like where you have a ton, and like for him, like a ton of film on him.
Yeah.
Like you'd much rather take that than like a Walker White coming into Auburn.
Well, yeah, just look at your quarterbacks that got the invites this year. You've got guys that have been playing forever that
all 3 of them.
Yeah, Arch Manning's not one of them.
No,
That's that's your difference at that position, and I think some of your other positions that's going to be the same thing.
But at the same time, there's also not a Johnny Manziel or a Jameis Winston of this class. There's not a freshman that's just lighting it up. There's 3, seniors and super seniors that are lighting it up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And this is the first time correct me if I'm wrong. I can't remember. Well, it probably started with Joe Burrow being the first like upperclassman to transfer and then to ball out.
Oh yeah.
But before that, I don't think I could have told you like a senior or a super senior that went to a program and was just balling out.
And even it took him a year.
Yeah.
He went from 17 touchdowns to 60.
Yeah, as soon as he got lit up by that guy at UCF, that flipped the switch.
I will just to cap off college football. I think it's a bad matchup for Michigan, but I do think it's going to be nice them having, and I hope it's how you pronounce his last name, but his name's Alex Orji.
That's definitely not it.
No.
Backup quarterback.
No, I'm pretty. I watched.
I do think
the commentator was saying
him
Orgy.
acting as Jalen Miller on scout team is going to be big. He's 6'3", 236. He's a freak athlete. So that'll give him some kind of leg up to prepare. But I think Alabama takes it though. So.
Yeah. Harbaugh's lost to the SEC. So they lost to TCU last year.
Yep.
Georgia the year before.
And Georgia the year before, and they weren't relevant any time prior to that.
Not in the playoffs, no.
I don't see him beating the SEC.
I don't either.
I mean, their
Like-
reaction to playing Alabama speaks for itself.
The crazy thing is,
like
this
a
is probably
funeral.
the worst Alabama team in the last 5 years,
Yeah,
and they're
yeah.
somehow going to make it. Sorry, Connor.
Just least put together, I feel like.
Yeah, maybe worse is not the best way to describe it. It's if I were an Alabama fan, I would feel much more comfortable with one of their teams from the years before, with like Bryce Young at quarterback or Tua at quarterback.
And I will say I do have a source that's a close family friend to Nick Saban who talked to him about the 24 and 25 class, and he said he spoke very highly of them, how they were like very hardworking, diligent, this and that. So if that's where we're headed, then we're all in trouble. So
Well, Auburn's still trying to flip
They,
Williams.
They get Milrow back, so that's
that's
all
what
you
it-
need. I mean, I had Alabama friends and fans that are like, yeah, there's no way we beat Georgia. I'm like, you have, the second best player on the field, but the other one wasn't completely healthy, and Brock. So you have the best healthy player on the field on your side of on your team. You've got a chance at winning this game.
He's a more talented version of Nick Marshall. He's actually got something between his ears, and he's got a freaking laser for an arm.
Yep.
Yeah,
I just thought it was
offense,
crazy
Nick.
to
I
hear,
feel like I've experienced that firsthand.
Yeah.
hear it out of. It's just crazy to hear it out of his own mouth, like talking to one of like another coach on the phone, saying, "Hey, like this is cool, but like the next 2 years, it's gonna be even better." So
Now, if we flip Williams, we get another 5-star wideout. I say we, like I'm part of the program, but
we
anyway.
actually have to have somebody who can throw the ball.
yeah, who's the quarterback?
Walker White. We got
Stop asking questions.
a 4-star guy coming in.
Don't get him started now. You don't want to know.
I
This
just
until
got off
next year.
FSU. My bad. Yeah, sorry guys. You want to get into the NFL?
Sure.
I think we
Yes.
need to.
Yeah.
Yep. Just for time purposes.
So back to the MVP odds. It looks like it's Purdy and Dak, followed by
Jalen.
Mahomes, Jalen, Jalen, Mahomes, and he should be in
I
it.
think Tyreek's at least
Lamar
volatile.
and then
Yeah.
Tyreek.
I don't know about Lamar being in that. How many touchdowns did he have this year? Like 7?
These teams have the one
What?
seed, don't they?
They might have the 1 seed. Let's
They
see.
do until after this game.
So Lamar currently has 13 pass touchdowns, 5 rushing touchdowns.
A little more than 7.
I was being facetious.
Yep.
You want to look that word
I
up?
don't know the way you're talking about FSU. I don't know with you. So,
True.
but I do think, like, seriously, like, if you look at it in the next few weeks, I think whether he wins or not, I think Tyreek's positioning, he's on pace for 2,000.
Yeah.
Yep.
Least likely to change.
I don't think Lamar should be in the conversation, honestly. Mostly because he went to Louisville and Louisville lost to Florida State in the ACC championship game.
Wow, this dude's connecting all the dots, man. See him reaching all the way back there?
Long walk for a short drink of water. About saying
Uh-huh.
Some people's kids.
Come on, tell me about
yours
it. Yeah.
specifically. Anyway,
But there were a few big games that happened this past weekend.
Started off with a great game of Dallas versus Seattle.
Yeah, take it
it
away.
was
You gonna let him talk again?
Okay, you take it away. Sorry, we're both Cowboys fans. My bad. My bad.
I'm sorry. I can't read. That's better. I did watch, but I'm not enough to be able to completely recap.
I don't know how you take a team that had 1 touchdown in the last 3 weeks, or maybe it's just 1 touchdown like through the air, and you take that offense, and then the Dallas Cowboys defense. Granted, they've been beating up on some bad teams, like some sub 500 teams, but how they were able to give up that many points to a team that had done jack squat the week before, and the week before that, and the week before that.
Yeah.
And at home, when you hadn't given up the lead the entire year. I don't know if you knew that, but at home, the Cowboys, up until Thursday, they had never been behind the entire year.
Oh, at home. Yep.
Yeah, they were either even or ahead,
Wow.
which is insane. Which leads us into the race for the number 1 seed in the NFC next week.
Against
If
the
the
Eagles.
Cowboys beat the Eagles, they gift the Niners the 1 seed. But I mean, I would much rather be, because the difference between being the 2 seed in the NFC versus being the 5 seed in the NFC, 2 seed. Because if the Cowboys won and beat the Eagles, they'd have the same record, and then it would go on to be, whatever the record is after that.
But they'll play again later. No.
Nope. The Cowboys already went into Philly and lost. So if they win, they'll have the tie, and so then it goes to the divisional record. Well, actually, it goes overall record first, then the divisional record. If all that's tied, then I think they get into like points scored,
Gotcha.
Wow.
which the Cowboys would more than likely have.
Yeah.
Who's the young stud cornerback for Dallas? Bland.
Deron Bland,
Yeah.
fifth round pick out of the 2022 draft.
Yeah, I think 2 of DK's touchdowns were off of him.
Who has more touchdowns for the year?
How many does Bland have? 5?
5. I'm just curious. I know he had 3 in the one game.
DK, he has 6.
Oh.
Yeah. Suck it, buddy.
Well, and one of them is a wide receiver. The other one's a defensive back.
That's okay. I won't hold it against Bland.
They still won the game. For
He
the
has
record.
more pick sixes than Dion.
All time.
I think so. I know Dion never had more than 2 in a season.
But it is crazy to look how many more touchdowns or how many more people Deron Bland has touchdowns than.
Oh, yes. Yes.
I can name one. Drake London.
Yes, sir.
Kyle Pitts.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Tyler-
Maybe Bijan? Yes, sir.
Tyler Lockett.
Wait, Bijan doesn't have 5 touchdowns?
I said maybe. He's probably right at 5.
But I mean, that's just an insane thing to even be discussing.
No, I agree. Is he gonna take a step back like Diggs has?
I don't know that it's fair to
He's
say
got
that.
6.
Whew.
Let's go,
I don't
Atlanta.
know that it's fair to say that Diggs took a step back. I think it's more they started stopped throwing his direction. And because when he was getting all those interceptions, he wasn't the main corner. Like he was sitting as a ball hawk. And that's, I mean, towards the end of the year, they started putting him on the number 1 wide receiver. But
Yeah. But when you have him, Stephon Gilmore, and then Bland, like,
if I'm a wide receiver, I know Gilmore's 4 or 5 years removed from being defensive player of the year. But if you're the third string guy next year, and you have to line up against Stephon Gilmore, like I'm kicking myself. Like that's
Yeah.
terrible.
By the way, fact checking myself here, Dion had 9 career pick sixes. So
And he has 5 this year, and I think he had 1 or 2 last year. So if he stays on this pace, he's gonna blow it out.
Hey, go ahead and say it.
Yeah.
Go ahead and say it.
he's going to be a Hall of Famer.
Prime time. Hey, where'd he go to school?
Primetime, Florida State.
All comes back to that.
All comes
Yeah.
back.
Also played for the Braves. Go Braves.
Another big matchup from this past week was the Texans and the Broncos.
Yeah, buddy.
And man, was that a nail biter at the end.
Did you actually watch one of your team's games?
Yeah, I was watching it.
See, why you gotta do that, dude? Dang.
I was
Don't be worried about us.
I was playing Ultimate Frisbee, but I had it up on my phone watching the last like 10 minutes, and
It's crazy.
man, I was sweating a little bit.
What'd you think of the was it PI or holding call that they got on the third and it was on the last drive of the game. There was a defensive penalty that they called that I think could have gone either way. It might have been too specific because it was like the center of the field, so it wasn't like make or break in the red zone. Well, you weren't watching like the last bit, so
Yeah.
you might not have caught that one, but.
I am a little scared because Tank Dell got hurt and he's going to be out for the rest of the season. So that's going to put more pressure on Nico Collins. Hopefully, Brandon Cook or Robert Woods, I mean.
One of those wide receivers that just goes everywhere.
Yeah.
And Dalton Schultz coming back would be.
Dalton Schultz coming
That-
back
we
will be
need that.
good. Our run game, we had almost 80 rushing yards. So, I mean, I'm excited. We're
I would
7
be.
and 5.
Yeah, dude, franchise quarterback.
Who would you say is the comp for
He's in
Stroud?
the MVP conversation too, right?
His.
Yeah.
I think he's on the outside
Number
looking in right
7,
now.
Number 8. Yeah.
Because everybody ahead of him, they have winning records.
So does he. 7 and 5.
Oh, I thought they were 6-6. Forgive me, I'm wrong.
The disrespect.
But 7-5 versus like 9-3,
Which, yes.
10-2,
And I feel like that plays a heavy part in the NFL is the record as well,
Yep.
Even though put a little more respect on his name.
No, I think I was telling my dad, like, it's crazy to think, like, if you were to ask me at the beginning of this year which team has the ability to come in and just like turn it around talent wise, like if you could take any quarterback from the rookie class and put him on any team and they'd actually be a competitive team, I don't know that I would have said the Texans. Like, honestly,
I mean, we did the NFL pick'ems for the total wins, and I had the third to last pick, and I chose the Bucks over the Texans, and I mean, I kind of regret that now, but
What a fan.
yeah, hey, I was trying to win,
well,
but
some of us chose the Bengals with like our first pick, so
Yeah.
who would have done that?
Yeah.
that's tough.
I will say that them and the Colts,
The Colts too.
they
And
missed. I mean, they don't even have their quarterback.
Nope.
And they're 6-6, I believe.
Gardner Minshew is proven to be a premier
7 and 5.
borderline starter.
7-5.
7 and 5.
Do that.
I mean, he's a
How many teams in the NFL? do you
he's
think
like
he
the
starts?
current version of Fitzmagic, is he not?
Yeah.
Well, that's
yeah, he
Dobbs
is.
too. Like same thing. They're both in that same boat.
I think it's more the coaching job, personally.
For
I think it's less Gardner Minshew, borderline
Indianapolis?
QB1 somewhere versus who's it? Shane Steichen.
really,
I get him in the other Eagles.
no, I think that's right.
it's
the
crazy
guy?
that you could go from
Gannon.
the dumpster fire that had Jeff Saturday as your head coach
Whew.
to what they've got now.
Jim Irsay's your owner. Brutal.
Mm-hmm.
Could be worse.
Stay out the snow, brother.
Cardinals beating the Steelers.
That was. They put a whomping on him.
Yeah, well, Kenny Pickett got hurt, so
Boy, did he.
Okay.
He'll
Yep.
be out a few weeks.
Oh, he got ankle surgery. So
that could be.
sidelined through week 17.
And you got Mitch Trubisky. That's
Yep.
rough.
Former number 2 pick.
Number 2 pick.
Yeah, how'd that turn out?
Hey.
Was it to the Bears?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Of course.
What college was he out of?
North Carolina.
What conference is that in? The ACC.
You're
Oh, wow.
arguing against yourself.
Yeah.
He's hurting himself. Yeah.
Anyway,
I'm telling you, like pain, dude.
like what?
Real interesting game was the Lions and the Saints. Lions went up like 24-0 in the first, or like within the first half of the second quarter.
Oh, I kept, because I've got Sam Laporta on my fantasy team. I just kept seeing the Lions score, and it's not even out of the first quarter, and they had 24 points.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. And I was thinking, man, this game's already over. And I think I saw Derek Carr had an interception. He had a fumble. He ended up getting hurt.
Yeah.
But sometime in the second half, they just started to turn it around. And I think they took over the lead at one point. And I was surprised.
Was that with Jameson or was that with Derek still?
It might have been with Derek still. But I'm not entirely sure. But man, it went from 24-0 to finishing at 33-28. So that was
Made it a game. Yeah.
yeah.
I just wonder if the Lions are having their best year, maybe ever.
I think the last time I had this record was 1957 or something.
Wow.
Wow.
That or sometime in the 60s, but still.
I just kind of feel like they're gonna get there and they're somehow gonna lose to like the Vikings or the Seahawks or something. Somebody like that. Like how crazy would that be?
It'd be like the team that would actually lose to the Cowboys in the playoffs.
Well, they don't get that chance, so
All about chances, you know? Florida State. Yeah. Okay. Carry on.
I wasn't even gonna bring it up.
Someone
Shocker.
brought it up 17 times.
Titans versus Colts.
Titans versus Colts.
That was a pretty back and forth game.
Yep. Went to
Missed
OT.
PAT because Ryan Tannehill can't hold the ball.
Really? That was I didn't
No,
see it.
Their punter. So it was honestly special teams that the Colts were even in the game. They had 2 block punts. One recovered for a touchdown.
Yep.
And on one of those, the punter got hit and he got injured. So the backup holder was Ryan Tannehill. So in the PAT, that would have put them ahead 26-25. They missed. I don't know. So
Sabotage.
I don't know that you can. I don't know that you can directly say that it was Tannehill's fault. I didn't actually watch that specific snap. They also did have a 50-yard field goal after that he held for. That was good. So
Okay.
he wasn't a complete saboteur, but that would be funny. It's just like get me out of here. Just
Yeah,
yank it.
dude.
Just like
I don't teach y'all to bench me.
like Lucy and the Peanuts pull the ball away.
Packers beating the Chiefs. Anyone
I did
see
not-
that one coming?
Did not.
That was, and it was wild because I think it was Green Bay's first 2 drives ended in touchdowns and the Chiefs ended in field goals. And I was like 14-6. Like when are the Chiefs just gonna like turn it on and just take over the game? And I mean, the Packers just kept going. So that one blew my mind.
I woke up today. It's on the final of that game. And I remembered after one of y'all had asked me in like May of 21, right after that draft, like bold take. And I just pulled Jordan Love's going to be the best quarterback in that draft class out of my butt.
Yep.
Wasn't looking good at the start.
No.
Well, I think
Here
right
we
now
are.
it's Trevor Lawrence. Unless
right now, yeah.
Trevor Lawrence and that was Trey Lance,
Justin Fields.
Justin
Mac
Jones,
Was that Wilson?
Zach Wilson, yeah.
Wow.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I definitely give the edge to Lawrence there. But what about Love versus Fields? I mean, this is only Love's first real chance. So I think if I'm an owner, I think I'd still rather have Fields.
I think all-time rankings, I'd probably put Love ahead of. I think it'll be between him and Lawrence, I feel like. Did you see the numbers? Like, it was just weird how similar Aaron Rodgers' numbers and
Oh, it was like
Jordan
almost
Love, it was
the exact
actually-
same.
yeah.
They started off with like a 3-5 record or something, and then come back.
So does it look like Kansas City sometimes just likes to play with their food? Like they seem just disinterested.
Well, so
to
who
me.
has the most like comeback wins in the third and fourth quarter?
But that's what I'm saying though. They're like, oh, we want to, we need to make this fun and entertaining, so we're gonna, dig a hole that we need to climb
Well, when
out
you
of
win
and make it exciting.
2 Super Bowls in 3 years.
Yeah, but even then, they had a couple of games where they had
49ers.
to play that way.
Well, because the Super Bowl against the Niners, they were down 20 at one point or something ridiculous.
no, I think it was that playoffs against the Texans. Weren't they down by like
The Texans were in the
ridiculous
playoffs?
amount? We have no room to talk about
I was about to say like 3 years ago, and we blew a 21 lead.
Was it a 21 point?
It
lead?
was-
Yeah,
it was something
pretty
like
big
that, and I'm
against
like-
the Chiefs, yeah.
That was
It's not quite as bad as the 28-3 lead.
that is true,
You just taking everything personally, man.
dude. He really
It's okay,
is.
man.
Do we need to gang up on him?
I would have thought after that drink you would have relaxed, but I guess not.
No.
No, not Drew.
One.
One.
Nah.
Anyway,
Try 21. So next week, yeah, Texans. Who wrote Texans Jets on here?
Yeah, that's an easy game.
for who?
Texans.
Not with Wilson coming back as the
If he
starting
wants to, I
quarterback.
don't know.
Did you see?
No, yeah, he doesn't want to.
Yeah, we were talking, I saw Reese about that earlier. It's like they asked him, or they were making a quarterback change. They're like, I don't know if I would be the quarterback.
That's wild to think about. Like,
Well, and then Robert Saleh, or however you say his name, came out and was like, well, we just spoke, and yeah, he's game. I was like, come on. You're just trying to cover up now.
He said he judges players by what they say to him, not what they say to other teammates. Which, interesting. Okay.
I feel like people are going to be a little more truthful
Yeah.
with teammates.
Yeah.
But
Rams Ravens is again could be oddly competitive.
Yep.
That's what I was thinking.
Bucks Falcons.
Bucks.
So that's for that's for a tie for the division lead, because
Yep, because
the Bucks are down 1, the Falcons are up 1, but the Falcons have the head-to-head win currently. So if the Bucks win, they'll be dead even across the board. They'll be kind of where the Eagles and the Cowboys
Are
are.
the Saints not up there?
don't-
Are they game back?
Saints are 5-7.
I was gonna say they just lost.
They played the Panthers, though.
Oh,
So they're
that's
going to be
another
6 and
loss.
7.
Bryce Young.
Oh, that'd be
Hey, there's a chance.
wild. Good games of the week. Possibly Seattle, San Fran.
I'm calling Seattle to win that.
Really?
Going into Niners Stadium and winning that.
That's a little bold, but I like it. Also, Bills,
Levi Stadium.
Chiefs.
Did the Niners play there?
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Ooh. You okay?
Yeah. Burn. I'm fine. It's the Niners Stadium. The Niners play in the stadium.
Okay, all right. We got
What part don't you get,
All right, man.
heathen?
Yeah.
I don't know.
There he goes again.
I'm completely lost. So,
Anyway,
Lions, Bears.
Oh, my.
Lions, easy money.
with healthy Fields, think he makes it interesting.
What's up with you and Fields, man?
He's on my fantasy team. I got to pull for him.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say you hanging out with him, dude. Like riding him a little bit. Him and FSU, man. Like,
He played for Ohio State.
what
It
did
doesn't
Mike
matter.
Norvell do for you?
Broncos Chargers?
Hopefully,
Wow.
Chargers. I don't know. They've been a really weird
I want them to
team.
keep losing so they can finally fire that coach, dude.
Oh, I was talking to a Chargers fan yesterday, and he
There are
was
Chargers fans out there?
yeah. I don't know where,
Wow.
but he was hoping that they lost as well.
Yeah. I don't like calling people's jobs, but dude,
yeah.
they've been the most middling franchise for.
Like they have
The worst
An
part
awesome
is they
offense.
have talent.
Like-
yeah, they have whatever coach wants as a franchise quarterback.
yeah, with a amazing veteran wide receiver. They have a younger wide receiver who's been a little tough, and then also one of the best running backs in the league. Like get it worked out.
You got Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa, Derwin James.
Yeah, I was about to
Pretty
say like
And how are you not able to do anything with it? I don't understand.
It blows my mind. Then Eagles Cowboys.
Cowboys win at home.
Score.
Oh, it's going to be. I think it's going to be just as close as the Cowboys at Eagles was. So I'm going to give the Cowboys by 4. I'm going to say 27 or 31-27.
I would like to see officiating just be balanced in this one, unlike the last one. I don't want it
You're
to be
asking
one
for a
way or
whole
the other,
lot.
but well, it wasn't balanced the last one, that's for sure.
I did hear that the Eagles, specifically the D linemen, were a little gassed last week, coming off a short week. So I think this could be a good bounce back. I'll take Eagles by 35-27.
Nicholas?
I'm going to also have the Eagles, and I'm doing 38-34.
What's a high scoring game?
Good offenses. I mean,
And no pick six for DeRon Bland.
I wasn't going to call it this time. Can only be right so many times.
5 times. Were there any ever twice in one game?
I think one was, right?
I don't think so. I know they had a couple. They had one where they had a pick 6 and like a fumble recovery for 6, or like a pass or a kick block for 6. But I don't think they had 2 pick 6s in the same game.
What's it like to have a good defense?
I honestly wouldn't know, because if you watch
Feels
that
pretty good.
Seahawks game, I don't think that the Cowboys have a good defense.
I like the
You
Texans
sound
defense.
spoiled, dude. One bad game.
Yeah.
We lost to the Cardinals.
Some of us don't have good anything, dude.
I'm going to go 33-27 Cowboys. Not that anybody was asking me. So.
I thought we already went you. My bad.
No.
Did you just skip right over him and go to Reese?
Yeah, dude.
No, I went
It's your
to-
own dad,
Yeah.
No, I went to you because he offered up his opinion without me asking.
Oh.
like I do.
Like you do.
Like I do. All right. Does anybody else got anything, or so I can wrap it up for episode 9?
Episode 9 of
Leather and laces.
Did you
Do I Wanna
really
Know?
forget
Do I
the
Want to
name?
Know? No, I was thinking of the song.
Okay.
Preview games. Yeah, I think that's it.
Oh, NBA play-in tournament starts this week. So
I wish I
not
could say
play-in
that I
tournament.
was.
I'm sorry, mid-season tournament.
Yeah, I
Mid-season.
wish I could say I was keeping up with that, but
yeah, I'm gonna
I
be
saw
honest.
the Lakers got the top seed in their side of it.
Yeah, it's
I don't
because
know if
they
that's
love
conference
LeBron.
based. But don't you have to win to get in?
Nah.
I'll be honest. All I know is it's messing up my fantasy basketball schedule. So. I got like 7 guys playing the entire week. So it sucks. I'm playing Sean too. So Sean, if you're listening, tough.
Tough.
But let's y'all.
Alex Anthopoulos has been making some trades. Got
Yeah.
Jared Kelnick from the Mariners. Interesting thing about that is when he was thanking the team, or when he was thanking Seattle, he did not mention the Mariners once. So whatever, I don't know if y'all are familiar with the bad blood between them, but so he was supposed to debut not this year, but last year, but they wanted to sign him to a big contract, and he didn't want to sign to a big contract. So they postponed his debut a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did think it's interesting. They traded away a promising kid like him, and then also shipped off Suarez for a team that's supposed to be competing. That's kind of odd.
Well, I think for
Trying to make cap room.
For
but-
Kelnick, it was a money thing, and they were just trying to get rid of somebody that they didn't feel like was going to be there for a long time. But the Braves, they just got
Hey.
their left fielder.
Hey, Braves are gonna turn around, boy, just like they do.
Well, unfortunately, we don't have Ron Washington.
It's all right.
Hey,
Y'all can still lose to the Astros whenever you want.
In the last World Series that we played against each other, who won
Oh
that
my
game?
gosh.
World Series.
I'm sorry. Who has won more in the past 10 years?
Who lost in the playoffs this year? Both of us.
Great argument.
all right, y'all got anything else?
And now we're back to the Michigan argument again. There we go.
Please don't.
Yeah,
say that.
Florida State should have been the number 4.
Kelly played Florida
Where's
State.
the jar?
I'm just kidding. I have no idea what he played for.
All right, I'm
All right.
playing the outro music.
All right,
Here we go.
everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
Like and
Episode
subscribe.
next week.
Like
yeah,
and subscribe.
Jared Kelnick played for the University of Louisville. Who lost to Florida State?